Welcome to Potter Revisited, the movie edition. I'm Tori.
And I'm Shay.
And your first time we're seeing our faces, maybe, if we decide
Probably.
to keep it in.
I hope we look nothing like what you pictured. Except if you're our moms. In that case, I hope we look exactly how you pictured. Hi, Mom.
Yeah. Hi, Mom. Yeah, so today we're going to watch the first Harry Potter movie and just give a kind of little commentary / movie review. And it's actually been a while since I've watched this. It's usually my comfort movie, so it should be fun to go through
them last year, I believe, with my boyfriend, because he hadn't seen all of them, and I told him it was like the prerequisite films in order to date me. So
yeah, I definitely watched this probably when I had COVID, because I needed something good to watch when I was feeling like the worst.
That makes sense.
10 times.
Also, fun game I came up with going forward.
Okay.
During our previous podcast episode, Tori made out a point that a lot of the times where Harry's involved in altercations and could become seriously injured, he comes out all right. And she was wondering if maybe that was because of the Horcrux inside of him trying to protect itself. So I thought it would be fun as we watch the movie to keep track of moments where we think it could have been the Horcrux or Harry, just for future reference and also for our own personal enjoyment.
Sounds good. All right, press play. So this opening scene is like very nostalgic to me. Everything the way they did like the first chapter segue.
Yeah, it was perfectly done.
Amazing.
I mean, it was a really short chapter, so it didn't make it that difficult.
Just establishing everything.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I like how they handled McGonagall.
Yeah, during our test, we actually talk about how Harry Potter is really known for its like crazy special effects and how they did everything. But this is like so early, and like I think this came out in 2001. So back then, special effects were expensive and really hard to do. So they don't even have McGonagall transfer on screen, like she is later in the movie, but they have her like against a wall. And a lot of the effects in this movie are going to be like practical special effects. So I'm really want to see those, because you don't get that anymore.
The funny thing about the Deluminator is I remember the first time I sort of saw this scene thinking, wow, that's so cool. And now we have a Google Home, and it's like, I can tell my lights to turn on. I can tell my lights to turn on to a specific color scheme with my phone or my voice.
You have a Deluminator.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. McGonagall's transformation in a shadow.
Glamorous.
I like how this scene opens up with like two really big British actors, Maggie Smith and Richard Harris.
Yeah.
And little me had no idea.
I was like, wow, look at that old guy.
Look at these old people on screen. And I'm like, this is acting royalty.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't.
We were so uncultured.
Yeah, I know. Oh, look at all these, like, I just love the setting too. Everything looks so English, but the cars look so old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Still think Robbie Coltrane was such a great choice for Hagrid as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I could see anyone else as Hagrid. Still amazed no one woke up to the motorcycle thing. But then again, I live in the city.
Yeah,
so
me too. Like, you hear backfiring cars and motorcycles and dogs barking and stuff all the time. You just learn how to tune it out. Yeah, they're probably like, ugh, hoodlums again. I can't imagine how Harry didn't wake up flying on a motorcycle in the middle of the night. He must have been...
Trauma.
Concussed. Brain trauma.
I love the idea of McGonagall just checking in on Harry's potential guardians and being like, these are unacceptable guardians, Dumbledore. And
yeah,
just
I like McGonagall actually looking out for Harry's well-being.
Whatever. It's like we said in our first episode, like, what if McGonagall had raised Harry?
He probably would have studied a little bit more.
I think he would have been more of a rebel.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. Hopefully it wasn't like a cold night. I guess this is actually like October. Like, I don't know. Isn't it cold in the UK? They just don't knock on the door or like make sure that he's taken in. They just kind of like leave him on the doorstep.
I just assumed they like ding dong ditch. Knock on the door, leave a baby and run, you know?
Yeah, this opening sequence, amazing. Chills with the music, this iconic Harry Potter music.
The soundtrack is
the title. Amazing, beautiful, magnifique, and transitioning into little Dan Rad. Aww. I love watching the earlier movies because they're just so tiny.
He looks so weird without his glasses.
Yeah. I know, like, Dan Rad doesn't actually wear glasses, but I remember for the longest time, whenever I saw him at, like, premieres and stuff, I'm like, he looks so odd without the glasses. This house looks so early 2000s too.
I kind of love the idea of a tiny room under the stairs. Like, not to make it human live in and only in that room, but like as like a little reading nook or something. It's a very cute idea.
Yeah, in college we had a closet under the stairs, but we used it to store a bunch of crap we didn't want. Oh my god, look at the wallpaper.
Oh man.
It's like cooking Canadian bacon.
It looks like pea meal, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the actor that plays Dudley also does a really good job.
Yeah,
Like,
especially
you
as a
immediately
child.
do not like him.
Yeah.
And Harry giving that side eye.
Yeah. They're cute little houses, though. The little, like, semi-detached, the little front gardens. It's very cute.
Yeah. I do like the costume designs with Harry when he's living with the Dursleys. Look like what he's wearing compared to what they're wearing. Like, he's obviously wearing hand-me-downs and it's oversized and it doesn't fit.
Yeah, and it's like so
Petunia,
faded. His shirt was probably
Dursley and Dudley are all
so
wearing
faded.
like nicely fitted clothes. Like look what Dudley's wearing compared to Harry. Like Dudley
like a
looks
nice
well
Argyle
taken
jumper
care
and a
of,
button-up.
and Harry just looks like a hobo.
He looks like a punk. Like if he was wearing it intentionally. With the
That's
plaid
definitely
and the
what
t-shirt.
hipsters would definitely wear. What Harry's wearing, like intentionally.
He's a fashion legend.
Yeah. Here's a Horcrux Harry moment talking to a snake. I don't know. I think it's more of Voldemort, the piece of Voldemort in him. So he's talking to the snake and just chilling.
Yeah, but the piece of Voldemort is the Horcrux, so I would say this is a Horcrux Harry moment. It's a Harry Crux moment.
Harry Crux. Oh, I just noticed they even have the spello tape on Harry's glasses. Nice
What
touch.
is cello tape? Is it basically just...
So, I think it's just like Scotch tape or...
In my mind, it's more like saran wrap. I don't know why. Like cellophane?
Yeah, I don't know. Jesus.
This part is great because how many times in your life did you want that to happen to some little brat, you know?
Yeah.
Some type of...
I'm sure after I watched this movie, I just had moments where like my brother or sister did something to piss me off and I'm just like, if I was a wizard, you would just be like, something bad would happen to you right now. I still find it surprising. We talked about this in the second chapter, but Harry's just like totally chill with Snake. And he's not really surprised that he can talk to it.
Well, I think he's just like not used to someone thanking him. He's like, this is a polite snake. I'll just be polite back. Like he's...
Not like everyone else.
If the snake had been like, you're a jerk, he would have been like, well, so are you.
God. I usually don't watch, when I go back to the movie, I sometimes skip the Dursleys part because I just find the movie more interesting when they get to Hogwarts. But honestly, the Dursleys, like all the actors and actresses that do the Dursleys, they do it so good in the earlier movies. Like you don't like them and they've only been on screen for like 3 minutes.
Just the tone the actress who plays Petunia has.
Yeah.
The first few words to Dudley, I'm like, oh no. So she's...
Well, that's how phenomenal. I read her because she just comes across as that like doting helicopter mom. If only Harry had grabbed the letter and opened it in his little nook.
I mean, I guess he's never got mail before, so he didn't know if it was something that Dursleys would allow. Why does Dudley dress exactly like the penguins in Mary Poppins?
I think that's a Smeltings uniform. I actually really like what they did with the uniform for Smeltings. Because they describe in the book, it's just like crazy with like the cane and stuff he gets and just classic UK boy uniform.
A stick to beat each other with. It's just bad for business.
It just seems like a bad idea.
This isn't hockey, it's school.
Maybe it just builds character in the UK.
Yeah.
So I know if my brother had gone to a school that gave you canes, someone would lose an eye.
I mean, I remember the stories from my brother about what like initiation and things were like in our high school. And I cannot imagine.
Oh, yeah, before they got rid of it or they cracked down on it. I'd be very concerned if there was like 5 owls on my car in the daytime.
In the daytime. Like to me, I'd be concerned about like rabies or something because there has to be something wrong with nocturnal animals that are out at that hour.
I don't know how popular owls are in the UK, but I rarely see owls, especially in the daytime. And I like the set design too, where you just see all these pictures of Dudley.
Yeah. Nothing makes me want to punch Vernon more in the face than that little smile he gives Harry as he burns all his letters.
Can kind of see him losing it a little bit with his hair and everything.
A disaster. I love Hedwig's theme. It's such a good song.
Yeah. It's like the iconic Harry Potter song, like all throughout the movies and anything else. Like, hear this. It's like perfect.
I love the classic meme that's like, we know Harry's a Gryffindor because he's jumping around playing in the letters. If he were a Ravenclaw, he'd pick one up off the ground and then leave with it.
Yeah.
Like, casually shove one down your pocket, pretend not to have it, and read it later when you're in the bathroom like a regular person. I don't know.
Harry can't think that far ahead. It's Gryffindor logic. You don't think of the after, you think of the now.
Mm-hmm.
Vernon's descent into madness. Portrayed pretty well.
I love this spooky little house on its own little island. If there weren't definitely spiders there, I would actually be okay with it for a weekend getaway.
Oh, the scene makes me sad. He has to draw his birthday cake on the dirty ground.
On the floor. Why does Dudley have his watch alarm set for midnight?
Maybe Harry said it.
Seems kind of unnecessary, unless he was planning to wake up and harass Harry.
Maybe. Wouldn't put it past him.
Still seems unnecessary.
Hagrid's here.
I love how they set him up to be so scary, and then it's just Hagrid.
You're the sweetest guy. I do like how they filmed it, because Robbie Coltrane actually isn't as tall as Hagrid, so they have a double for him for his like exterior shots. But they just frame everything to make it appear as he's like way bigger than he is.
Yeah. I know they did a lot of those tricks like they did in Lord of the Rings, a lot of perspective manipulation and...
Yeah, I love it. Like, this makes sense.
Yeah. You look just like your dad.
Yeah.
I feel like this cake is probably poisoned, knowing Hagrid's cooking.
Yeah, good thing Harry didn't eat it, although I'm surprised Dudley ate it. He must really eat anything.
Yeah.
So I wonder how close it is to Hagrid's rock cakes, which are infamous.
Infamous indeed, yeah. I feel like if I saw that as a muggle who didn't believe in magic, my first thought would be like, oh, that's a very fancy and obnoxiously large lighter.
Yeah.
Like, did you really need to have it in an umbrella? Sounds like he says keys and grains. Keys and grains. He makes all of the bread.
Hagrid bakes all the bread. That's a bad thought. This shows how low Harry's self-esteem is.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not good at anything.
I'm not special. Like, I live under the stairs.
No one likes me.
He's been, like, raised to believe he's useless and so incapable of being special or bringing anything unique to the table that he can't even imagine it.
I think Fiona, not Fiona, I think that's actually her real name. She plays, like, the bitter, jealous sister really well.
Yeah, she really does. Like, I can see in her eyes years of trauma and hatred and resentment towards her sister when she says it. It's especially because, like, she didn't know everything about her sister's backstory when she, like, filmed a scene. So she really dug deep.
Here's where Hagrid starts his Dumbledore appreciation.
Yeah. Gotta prime Harry to know who's the greatest, most importantest, most loveliest. I think me and Hagrid might get in a fight if we ever met, because my first thought would be to insult Albus Dumbledore in front of him. I love the pigtail. I love that he has to have it surgically removed at a private hospital. But I also wonder if he has to have, like, his stomach pumped after eating that Hagrid cake. Also, giving Dudley that pigtail is, like, borderline, like, a criminal offense. Like, it's not just doing magic
we talked about that before.
And it's, like, I'm not saying forever in Azkaban, but, like, serious fines, serious punishments, maybe a year or two in Azkaban.
I love the framing here as well to make Hagrid look
huge.
Gigantic.
It's kind of sad to say, but nowadays the wizard children would probably just buy all their stuff off Amazon.
Yep. Some kind of wizard portal service. Well, the wizards are usually behind on the times with technology, so maybe they're just like, people are like, you're going out to buy things in person? You can't order this online?
Oh, look. They're already expecting Hagrid to want a drink.
Yeah. We'll see how much of an alcoholic Hagrid is in the movies.
Yeah.
I think they tone it down a bit so they get their PG rating.
Do we think Quirrell always wore a turban and, like, that's why he ended up being a convenient choice for Voldemort? Or do you think he, like, took to wearing it when he knew there was a chance Voldemort would plant himself on the back of his head.
Yeah, they don't really like talk about it because he was previously a teacher at the school. Then he took a year off to get experience, and that's where he met Voldemort. So I guess he could have played it off that it was part of his like travels.
Yeah.
And this is some pretty cool special effects for like 2001.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this and was like amazed. And I remember
being a kid and just dreaming that I had a secret wall that turned into a door.
I always wanted like a secret room.
Yeah.
Like bookcases that could flip around and something like that. Love the music too. And we see like the crowded streets and all the crazy looking shops that don't quite seem to fit.
Yeah.
I think this movie does a really good job at just like establishing the whimsy of this new world, and like each film kind of is like adds to it, but this is like the establishing film to kind of pull you in and get that feeling. It's a really good job.
And sort of establish what wizard and magic rules they're using in this world. Because there's different wizards aren't a new concept.
Yeah.
Like they set up these witches fly on brooms, you know?
Yeah. Nimbus 2000.
It's funny how impressed Harry looks about a broom, though, because it is just a broom.
Yeah.
Like for him right then, it's not like a really fast car. It's a broom.
Yeah, he's drawn to it.
I mean, I love my Swiffer wet jet, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I would have been that excited at 11 about a broom.
It's cool that all like the goblins were all like practical effects, like the actual actors, prosthetics and everything. So I think in the later movies, they did a lot of it with special effects.
Yeah.
After the fact. So definitely get more of like, it definitely feels more real because they're actually like really there.
Yeah. There's an actual individual person playing the character.
So that's why I didn't like how they did the like in the later films how they brought Dobby back. He didn't feel as authentic because you could tell that he was definitely really computer generated.
Yeah.
Compared to how he was in the second film.
Absolutely. And they took Dobby out of things because of how expensive it was to like animate him. They could have just done him the same way they did in the first or second film and it would have been beautiful.
Yeah. Sometimes technology is great, but also sometimes it just like you get so used to doing things through technology that you lose some of the realism.
Mm-hmm. And I love how Dumbledore wanting Harry to already know about the stone. It's like, Hagrid, since you're going to have Harry and be at the bank anyway,
just pick this up for me.
Very secretly get the stone for me, would you? Don't let Harry know.
Don't tell Harry anything.
I don't know why goblins need to have such long nails. I feel like that would make it harder to, like, count the gold and stuff. Like, it doesn't seem practical. Like, I have not intentionally long nails, but when they grow long, I can't do things.
Maybe it's just like when girls get the really long fingernails. You just learn how to do things.
I guess.
Different way. It's important like that.
Very secret, so we're bringing the 11-year-old along.
Yeah. I do love this shot. Just like the tiny little package. Because I remember Harry in the books just like all this security for a tiny little package. Doesn't make any sense.
It's the secret. He's like, I'm 11. I'm going to tell everybody. But also, is there another option nearby?
Yeah, it seems like it's the only option, at least in, like, London.
Yeah.
So it seems like that's where everyone from Hogwarts gets all their wands. And then when we meet Fleur and Crumb, the fourth book, they have, like, their wands from different wand makers.
Yeah.
Must be a very, like,
country
niche market if you only have, like, one per, like, a certain region.
Mm-hmm. I like how unnecessarily spooky they make Ollivander for no
he's
reason.
described in the book as being kind of weird. Like, he gives out, like, you just kind of get a vibe off him. So I feel like they really portrayed that into, like, who they got to play him. Just, there's just something off about him. You don't really know if he's good or bad. I do remember really wanting one of these wands because they looked so cool.
Yeah, I still want one. Like, I wish I had a wand. I wonder if all wands choose the wizard and let them know they've been chosen with, like, magical sparkles, or if it's a different thing for different wands.
Because then Carrie describes, like, just having, like, this sensation that it was, like, correct.
I mean, they do sort of show you the moment. It's like, ah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's that type of wand, and, like, my wand would make me a plate of mozzarella sticks or something.
I wonder if Dumbledore, like, told Ollivander to keep that wand aside just in case, because Harry's going to come.
Fun, his own personal, professional curiosity.
Yes, of course. Next year, I didn't have this moment where they know.
That sounds exhausting.
I think there's just like the multitude of wands he must sell every year.
Yeah.
For how many years? I feel like he meets is putting all this pressure on him.
Yeah.
You're going to be great. You're going to be great. He's like, I don't know anything.
It's a lot of pressure on an 11-year-old also.
Mm-hmm.
He did really bad stuff with the wand.
Get our first flashback. I was actually reading my page to screen book, and they had an extended version of this flashback for it, and I think it was partially reused in Deathly Hallows, where they have that whole kind of flashback Harry's having when he sees his parents die and like what leads up to it. So it seems like that was X out of like the original early draft of the script and then included in Deathly Hallows. I don't like Dumbledore to question, let Hagrid be the one to tell him that he was literally like someone intended to kill him. That's just like something pretty delicate to tell a kid.
I don't think Dumbledore is willing to put in the time it takes to properly tell Harry about things, so he's like, best have Hagrid drop it all on him quickly, and then...
Because he knows Hagrid will do it.
Start doing what I want. It's a weird thing to be known for.
Yeah,
I did a great job of not dying. And not even, like, intentionally, like, you survived. You just didn't die.
Yeah. Conveniently forgetting to tell Harry how to get on the platform.
Yeah. I find that line so weird because it makes it sound like the ticket's going to try and fly away. Stick to your ticket? Okay.
There's just some, like, Britishisms in this where they kind of say stuff like that.
But he says it so specifically. Stick to it, okay? Stick to it. I'm like,
don't miss the train or else you're screwed. I think no one really questions why this kid has a pet owl in a cage. Like, I feel like that's not, like, a normal thing.
He's probably not the first one there that day to have an owl, so they're probably just like a weird bird convention in town.
All these kids with birds.
You know how in like in high school, people who took like the foods and living class or whatever had to like raise a sack of flour as a baby?
Oh yeah, I had to do that.
Maybe they assumed that these kids had to try that with an owl. I don't know.
I love the first sight of the Weasleys.
Yeah.
They did such a good job casting all of them. How young they all look.
Yeah. Little
I'm
Ginny.
thinking, oh, they're so cute. And like they're all older than me. But
I think Ginny has the same haircut here that she does in the flash forward scene at the end of the seventh.
Probably. Little Bob. I love the Felt twins as the twins. Like, I can't see anyone else playing them. Like, their sense of humor.
Absolutely.
And just how they are with each other on point.
I guess it's a twin thing.
Yeah. I thought why they asked for twins.
The twins don't exactly match the, like, physical description because they're supposed to be sort of small and stocky. Mm-hmm. But I think they embody the, like, energy of the twins so much better that I really don't care. Yeah. They have red hair and they're twins. You know, that's all that really matters, plus their energy. I don't know how they don't automatically run into people when they get out on the other side of that brick wall.
Yeah, there's probably just a thing on, like, that someone's probably there to ensure that people don't crash into each other.
Yeah, they keep moving once they get through and don't wait in front of the entrance. It's a beautiful train.
Yeah. It makes me want to ride a train.
Really cute. It's a beautiful, magical transporter.
Something about wizards taking trains, despite having all the magic in the world, like some irony in that.
I like it because now it makes me feel like whimsical when I take a train somewhere.
Oh, they're so cute. You know, sometimes when I see the trolley lady, I'm just flashing back to the Cursed Child, where she's apparently some kind of demon.
Oh, I flash back to Harry Potter musical where she's just a Death Eater in disguise.
That's probably the correct flashback to have. I've tried to get Cursed Child out of my head, but one thing that
It's
sticks.
completely out of mine. We don't talk about it that shall not be named.
Yes.
Adventures in retconning is not to be discussed.
All for one was to try all the candy. That's something I would have done if I was like on the train by myself.
Especially if it's all new candy that you've never had before. Yeah, I wouldn't want to eat something that acted like a frog, even if it was a spell. I like frogs. They're friends and not food.
Hard pass.
Ugh, Dumbledore.
Hey, gotta start off that hero worship early.
Yep. He's so cool, he has a playing card.
I like how they show Hermione's character. She's already dressed in her robes. She's ready to learn.
I love her face there.
Yeah.
She clearly has read enough of her books already to know that that is not how spells sound. And she's like, oh dear.
Hit her people skills being like, that sucks. I can do real magic. Doesn't even ask Harry's like permission to point a wand in his face.
Yeah, because the social skills aren't there yet. Imagine she's just like, Avada Kedavra.
Voldemort's job's done. Already like showing Hermione being really annoying.
Yeah.
I don't think it comes across quite as annoying as it shows in the book, because Emma Watson just is so pleasant.
Yeah.
And a bit more, I think, polite almost, like just in her mannerisms.
Yeah.
I imagine Hermione being a bit more like unabashedly rude. And we get our first shot of Hogwarts, which is just everything I kind of imagined it to be.
Beautiful. It's perfect. It's
yeah, just this shot of the castle with them running up for the boats.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an iconic image.
Iconic.
It does not actually fit with the actual like layout of Hogwarts to me, like in practicality. Just on the way we see them interact with like the grounds and stuff.
Yeah.
But I digress.
I think it changes kind of every movie, because I think like there's been like general maps to show like how the ground's kind of laid out, but things change, locations change. I love this shot of Professor McGonagall.
Yeah. Makes her seem spooky, like a proper witch.
Yeah, because you just don't, this is like our first like time seeing her besides the beginning of the movie. You get like what her vibe is. You don't know, is she bad? Is she good? I know that Tom Felton auditioned for like Harry and Ron, but I'm so glad they chose him for Draco, because I just can't imagine anyone else playing Draco. He plays like this snooty kid so well.
So well. Also, I think he'd look funny as a ginger.
Apparently, I was reading a page of Scream book, and apparently he dyed his hair dark for Harry and ginger for Ron. And Christopher Columbus knew he wanted him for someone. He just didn't know who yet, but not those two. And then he's like, try playing like a miserable kid. And he's like, that's it. Malfoy. I do worry about these kids' hair, though, because I know a lot of them had issues with their hair for dyeing it for so many years.
Yeah.
Because as you grow older, like I know Rupert's hair was ginger, but as you grow older, your hair usually gets darker.
Yeah.
Loved how they did the Great Hall. Like,
yeah, it's beautiful.
I think I'll just be like talking all about the set design and like costume designs, because that's just the stuff I know is about this movie.
I love that they're real candles floating attached to like fishing lines.
Yeah, like how they mention in the 20-year anniversary how like one of them like caught fire.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, they just
Let's put a bunch of children in a very flammable set and then light it on fire.
Seems that's the thing he did in movies back then, because everything was practical. If they redid it now, it'd be like added in after and post. I wish they kept the hats in the uniform in the later movies.
Yeah, I love the hats. There's something incredibly
I'm sure it's like it gets hard to film though, because hats will add shadows over your face and everything.
Okay.
Which is probably why they did it, because even the earlier movies, they did a lot of the close-up shots on the kids because the kids couldn't keep their attention for very long. So it's easier to do a close-up shot and you can cut between them than like a wider shot where you have to make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I know Emma Watson said in previous interviews that like she memorized basically everyone's lines. So sometimes they would see like her in like wider shots. She'd be mouthing like Harry and Ron's lines, and they'd be like, "No, stop doing that." So that's also the reason why they're doing a lot of close-ups.
Very Hermione of her to do all the homework.
Yeah. Yeah, Emma said that she was always hated being like referenced as being similar to Hermione because back then being a nerd wasn't cool. But now she's like, yeah, I was totally like Hermione. It's like, it's growth. Well, here we are.
Oh, hello.
Shot.
I've just been unexpectedly seduced.
You have to keep it PG for the podcast.
We swear on this podcast. I can do whatever I want.
PG-13.
18A.
Oh, God. Kids put so much pressure on themselves to be in, like, the house with all their, like, family.
Yeah.
Dumbledore sits up straight. Ah, yes, my puppet is here.
Wahaha, things are about to get fun for me.
It's so cool to be an extra in this scene. I understand, like, all of, like, the people they have. This is a huge cast.
Yeah. Just to be sitting there staring up at the front as they film.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dumbledore gives him a little wink. I have plans for you.
Oh, don't say it like that.
This is what I wish would happen in my day-to-day life. I hate cooking.
Literally, I'm so hungry.
Priming Snape to be evil.
That's an interesting terminology, because it makes it sound a little bit like he's after Quirrell's job for years, which almost implies Quirrell's had the job.
Yeah.
More than the one...
I think this is before the author put a lot of emphasis on the job being jinxed.
Yeah.
I think after... It's in the later books that they actually reference it, like, had different teacher... Because it's just a very small thing in this first book, but I think by this time of the year making this, only the first 2 or 3 books were out. I don't think it was like a thing till like maybe the 4th or 5th book.
I do like how respectful Percy is to the ghost, you know? Hello, Sir Nicholas, how was your summer? Like, very nice.
Well, I think Percy's like, schmoozes up to the ghost because I'm sure the ghosts are useful as a prefect.
Yeah.
Help keep an eye on
the
things.
The little Slytherin in Percy's heart is like...
Yeah. I do like how they did the ghosts. The ghosts feel
side.
so natural compared to like the later movies because they were probably filmed against a green screen or something. I don't know, just the way it was just done. Not this scene, just kind of moving staircases. That probably be like the worst thing ever. Like you're running late for class and the staircase starts to move.
Yeah, I would not be.
It's like when you just miss an elevator or something. You just miss a subway.
It would be exactly like that.
All of the portraits moving as well. This is like the pink lady, fat lady, whatever they referenced in the books. But I think it changes more in the 3rd because I think they went for a bit more humor. And Alfonso Cuarón's vision was definitely a bit more stylistic compared to Christopher Columbus, who was just kind of establishing what the series world would look like and more of like the characters, where he kind of focused on the style, especially since that was one of the darker movies.
Yeah.
He put humor in where humor could go.
I love this window ledge.
Yeah.
I think it's the only thing I envy about the Gryffindors as a happy Slytherin.
Having a tower, so they have kind of like, they probably have a great view.
Yeah. I mean, Under the Lake is probably a great view. I love, like, water creatures, but a little window ledge, very fun. I
like that we had this little moment that it takes place, just like a little break in between classes, so we kind of get just like a quiet moment of Harry where he's finally, like, away from the Dursleys, and he's just kind of contemplating, like, his life here.
This is my new life. I wonder what it will be.
Very early special effects. Actually, I feel like it still kind of holds up. It like definitely looks old compared to what we see now, but honestly, I don't think it's, like, terrible. Alan Rickman just struts into that class like
walk, walk, fashion, baby. I love the potions classroom. The architecture.
Just Alan Rickman's voice is just so perfect for Snape.
Yeah.
Like it's not quite droning, but it's just definitely just like a chilled like.
It's deep.
Yeah.
And it's toned, but it's.
Because I always describe Snape as talking kind of in a whisper, but he's like.
It's not
soft
a
or
whisper
silky.
In volume. Yeah. It's like a whisper in
tone. Just know that Snape's just been waiting for this moment. Finally, James Potter's kid's here. I can torture him.
I love the way he delivers a line.
He definitely makes you not like him too.
I mean, that's debatable.
Well, it's good for us. They obviously get the idea that he's just a mean teacher, and he just acts the way we'll talk about later when he acts more suspicious. It's cool that they had actual.
That would be so messy.
Yeah. Apparently, they had like 1 or 2 like real owls for like the owl shots, and then some of them, the rest of them were like computer generated to make it look like bigger. But they did a lot of like had a lot of animal training like in the earlier movies. It's
That's
crazy.
fun.
Yeah. This just seems like at any class learning like a new sport or something. Like this is how they make you do it. Like, or grab basketball and start dribbling it. And
Yeah.
that's probably what would happen to me. I wonder how they expected this not to go badly.
Yeah.
This just seems like a recipe for a disaster.
I'm sure someone ends up in the hospital wing every year.
Yeah.
She could grab his broom in that moment, and she didn't. Like, clearly he doesn't want to be up there.
I like how they like kind of extended this to make this whole crazy thing around the ground. Because in the book, it's just he kind of like rises up really high and then falls down.
Yeah.
But now it's this whole thing.
They still want to give us more castle, I think.
Yeah.
Give us more like
I'll think with the book, like
location.
books kind of tell you what happens, but in film you have to show it because we don't get Harry's like thoughts or like interpretations of things. And obviously, since we're establishing the series, you want to show kind of like the layout of everything.
Super negligent to leave all those children unattended to with broomsticks.
I remember when we were in elementary school, it was like a rule, like a teacher couldn't leave their classroom unless they had someone else like in the classroom with them.
Watching it. And that's not with magic flying devices.
Yeah. 11-year-old kids left alone to their own devices. It's like Lord of the Flies could happen.
What an idiot.
McGonagall's like, my word, what the hell did I just see?
Yes, he's a Gryffindor. She's already picturing herself holding the house cup and Quidditch cup and Snape crying.
I guess they don't kind of comment on the fact that like Harry thinks he's gonna get like caned here.
Time for some physical abuse. Yeah. Woohoo!
I do wonder what he was teaching in this moment.
I mean, I think must be some kind of magical, like how to defend yourself against some type of evil creature. Like Lupin does hinky punks. And
yeah.
Whatever. They don't even make him try out. I'd be so offended if I was someone who wanted to try out for the team as Seeker. I mean, everyone knows more about Harry than he does. Ron probably does too, but he just
I still wish
doesn't
they had
brag about
included
it.
the midnight duel in the book, so I could just imagine it'd be so funny them running around the castle at night. But
yeah,
I guess they still don't have Peeves in the movie, so it's just like this is just a more like easy segue into what's in the third floor. Mrs. Norris has so much power. She turns on the lights.
Yeah, she's a very gifted kitty cat.
Yeah.
That door specifically.
Yeah. This one locked door.
My Gryffindor spidey senses are tingling.
Hermione's just reading ahead.
I mean, I would too if it was a magic book.
Yeah. Just imagine Hermione staying up all night reading her textbooks.
I would occasionally stay up reading something interesting in like history class or psychology or something. If it were spells, I definitely would never have slept.
Now, obviously, Fluffy is like a pretty early CG concept.
Yeah, Fluffy
and stands up.
dates it. Yeah.
Still looks pretty good.
A bit, but she's, in the book, it's a separate staircase up to the men's and women's dormitories.
Well, they never actually built the girls' dormitory. It's just it just leads to like a landing or something. I think they reference that somewhere. It wasn't relevant. So like they built like the boys' dormitory because things happened there, but nothing really happens.
They probably could have just reused the boys' dormitory and like made it a bit tidier and.
I don't think we ever actually see in the girls' dormitory.
No.
Everyone tries to go up and he can't, obviously. I do love how they explain the rules in this because I'm not a person that picks up sports very easily. So I think that having the opportunity to show what it looks like the balls and the rules, it's definitely a bit more easier to comprehend. Actually seeing it visually. Like we see how the Bludgers are like almost possessed almost, and it makes more sense than it does just reading that the Bludgers are a bit crazy, because now you can imagine this ball that you can't really control, and seeing just like how visibly small the snitch is.
Yeah, there's no way I could see the snitch.
No. Actually, I'm surprised Harry can see it like with glasses and everything, because...
Well, I mean, I guess his vision's probably fine with his glasses.
Yeah. Can we talk about Flitwick's character design in these two movies compared to the third movies and beyond?
Yeah.
Because same actor, Warwick Davis, but completely different prosthetics and everything. So they definitely play Flitwick kind of like this old, kind of kooky, charming professor who I kind of envisioned him as. But then
they make him look younger.
They make him look a bit younger and a bit more polished.
Yeah, and they remove off like all the beard and the wrinkles. It seems like a weird choice to change. Because there was nothing wrong with this version.
You just feel like it was just a part of Alfonso Cuarón's like artistic vision where he wanted like the choir, and it's just like he kind of made Flip look more like a choir director almost.
I
Well,
guess.
can I imagine? Yeah, but it just seemed like a really big jump to completely change a professor's,
Yeah.
like an established professor. Because like he changed some things, but it wasn't too big. Like the pink lady, like whatever, you don't really notice her too much in the earlier books, but we meet Professor Flitwick, and he's referenced as a professor. Honestly, this part was like really well done, even though it like hurts, because like I've definitely been in situations where you overhear people talking about you.
Yeah.
Worst feeling ever, and it's just such like a school thing to like experience.
Yeah.
And then we get like Ron's a bit more frustrated in the book because Hermione is a lot in the books.
Yeah.
I do like how they decorated for Halloween.
Love Halloween.
Especially because like
I always love Halloween.
yeah, I know you're the Halloween queen, but I definitely like how they interpreted like the Halloween feast, because this was like a big moment in the books, and how they describe the decorations and like these giant pumpkins. All the fact that like schools like reenact this and stuff like that, and it's just gonna become a meme. Amazing.
Okay, Slytherins, go get yourself eaten by a troll.
Yeah. Now Snape's like, I have a mission to complete, making himself look a bit suspicious.
Snape's like, I'm glorious, look at my hair.
Yeah. I know this is done really well where like they see the troll go in and they follow it in, but I still love in the book how they lock the troll in with Hermione and then they walk away and they're feeling so great about themselves. Like they just saved the school, and they're like, oh shit, that's the girl's washroom.
Wait a minute, we've murdered Hermione. That's awkward. See, this is why girls go to the bathroom in pairs or in teams. Trolls, secret evil diaries.
Just probably the moment where Hermione's saying like, wow, I hate magic school. It sucks. Just can't go to the bathroom and cry without a troll coming in.
Yeah.
It's Harry doesn't like brave, but very just stupid.
Full Gryffindor, just I'll jump on it, I guess. I don't like that they give Hermione that moment. Yeah. Ron figures it out on his own in the book, and I feel like he deserves to figure it out on his own here.
Yeah, we probably should point out, like, there's definitely going to be moments coming up in the rest of the movie where it's stuff that Ron knows, but they present it as Hermione knows, or Hermione telling Ron, or something like that. But there's things that he is aware of.
I like that they're like, oh, we can't have death in this movie. It's for children. They just knocked it out.
One of Warner Bros. Was very keen on like having like a PG rating at the very least, because they want as much people to see it as possible. Mm-hmm. So I remember in the later movies when we wanted more bad stuff like blood, gut, gore. Not really, but like in later movies, they really tried to keep like PG-13 because they want more people to see it.
I love Snape's face there. McGonagall's like, really? Snape's like, really? When Hermione says it's her fault. It's so like, just pause to look at their faces. They're both like calling bullshit.
Harry checking Snape's leg out.
Well, I'm always checking Snape out.
Ew. Alan Rickman just does so well. Just Snape's little like snooty attitude, competitiveness.
Yeah.
Like that Harry kind of just like, Snape hasn't really done anything besides be a mean teacher so far in the movie. So Harry just gets like, this teacher's mean. He wants something that's buried in the school.
Yeah.
My top suspect.
Really great
Yeah,
speech.
I just like how everyone's like, I mean, that's what jocks are like. My brother always talks about his like, all his hockey injuries. This is actually like the coolest thing. Like seeing the first Quidditch game, like just like, this like amazed me as a kid. That's maybe this is why I went into television. Just seeing this, like, it was all done with, like, green screens and stuff, and it's all, like, a lot of it's CG, but it just looks so
It's so cute,
good.
though. Cool. They all look so happy.
And it still looks so good, despite, like, it's over 20 years old. Still love their little Quidditch robes. They're so nice.
It's really cute. Yeah. Also, the Slytherin ones look better, just saying.
Just the, like, green and silver is a nice color combination. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like how they kind of reiterate the rules.
But properly this time.
Like during the game, so we get context during gameplay. Mm-hmm. I do feel like rules are something some kids, young kids especially, would have trouble following. Especially with all this action going around.
What I also love is that when you actually go to like a hockey game live, you don't get color commentary. You just get like when a goal happens or a penalty happens, the announcer says like 5 minutes for whatever penalty against Montreal. But we get the color commentary at the live event at these games, and I think that's so much fun.
I do like that this movie gave like some girl characters in the Slytherin team, despite the fact that they say later on that Slytherin is just an all boys team. Because I definitely like how they show that Quidditch is co-ed, even back in like the early 2000s. Because I remember like sport teams being pretty gendered when I was growing up. Until I was a bit older, where they had the option if you could play mixed like soccer or whatever.
Yeah, I very briefly played intramural basketball, and it was a co-ed team.
So this is like kind of in the same thing in the book and the movie. They kind of have Harry doing something, then Ron and Hermione doing something else at the same time.
Yeah. It's time for Hermione to commit a gentle arson and assault.
Yeah.
And destruction of public property, probably. At least 3 crimes is all I'm saying.
I do like how they kind of clue in that Quirrell is in the background, and we establish that he's behind Snape. But there's where so we know he's there, so to look back on later, but it's a big focus on Snape right now. I do like how they added more action to it, because Quidditch games are interesting for me not really liking sports, but I still think the movies definitely bring it to life a bit more than reading about it, because there's only like so much action, like this happens and this happens and this happens, but this like add more suspense to the final catches.
I mean, that's kind of the thing also about watching a sport live versus like on TV, where the cameras decide what's going on that's worth watching and zoom in and stuff. When you decide where to look and there's more of like a full field of vision, you definitely get a lot more perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
Draco. Face in the hands, full shame.
It's my dad, every time the Leafs lose.
I feel like he's worse than that.
Yeah, I can't say it for censor issues. What he'd actually be saying. Oh, Harry, live in this moment. The twins in the background, like knocking their clubs against each other.
I feel like watching Harry Potter with the face of James Potter smile this much hurts Snape more than being physically lit on fire. He's like, can we go back to before, when Harry was worried and I was on fire?
Poor Hagrid, just being harassed by 11-year-olds.
Yeah.
He's just going to go drink himself to sleep.
You're taking advantage of him, and it's not nice.
Oh, I love seeing Hogwarts in Christmas time.
It's so, like, I know it's not a Christmas movie, but, like, it really does.
It's why they play it. They play it all the time at Christmas. There was a Harry Potter marathon this past Christmas, that I was watching.
It just warms the heart. I would totally want to stay at Hogwarts for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
My mom would never have allowed it.
Yeah.
But I totally would have wanted to.
I probably would have missed my mom too much, but it definitely seems like a cool place to be, especially if you're like young and there's like little supervision. Especially like hanging out with your friends and everything as well, if they stay.
Yeah. There's no bedtimes when the parents aren't there, as long as you're in the common room at a certain curfew time.
Yeah, you can just have your prefects, and depending on what prefect you get, they might be more chill than Percy would be.
Yeah.
Hermione's like really chill, breaking the rules now. She lit Snape on fire.
Trespass! Trespass! It's a pretty
I guess this just still gives me Christmas nostalgia, even though like it's not really a Christmas movie, but just like remember being that excited for Christmas.
There's something about wearing pajamas and running down a staircase that feels like Christmas to me.
Yeah. Yeah, just like the excitement, because like I don't find Christmas as like it's nice. I love spending time with my family, but I don't feel like that general excitement because I'm not a child anymore.
It's not as magical as it is when you're a kid, for sure.
Dumbledore and his like vague notes. I do like how they show the invisibility cloak in the movie. It's all like wispy and everything.
Yeah, it looks really, and like it's got a pattern to it, sort of. So you.
And actually a pretty simple special effect too, just having the green screen on the one side and like the practical cloak on the other side. I remember like this DVD when we had it. It had like games and stuff on like the second. You remember when DVDs had like the first disc was the movie and then the second disc was like the extras and the games and stuff.
Yeah,
there was some game that had that screaming book. I think, and it just like ingrained in my memory.
Even the way he reaches, it's so distinctive. Like the mannerisms Alan Rickman portrays Snape with are. Yeah,
I wonder at what point. Because we know that later on they did say in the documentary that the author told him like what her plan for Snape was so he could have a better idea for his character. So I wonder how early on she told him.
I think it was really early on.
Would it be for this movie, or would it have been like in the next two? Because he feels like he's very...
I would think early on. Like, I would say, like, maybe she told him before he even signed on for the role. Yeah. She's like, I want you to sign on for this character. He's not what you think. This is what he is.
Yeah. Because it just seems he plays the role very deliberately. So, and we do know that, like, he knew this whole time. The arc
ultimate
for his character.
non-spoiler guy.
And everyone was really mad because no one else knew. Yeah. Which I think works really well for the movie. The fact that, like, he was doing stuff and then Christopher Columbus would be like, why are you doing that? And he'd be like, it'll make sense.
Trust me.
Just taking his character into his own hands.
Yeah. At some point, like, I love reading Snape, and he's a great book character, but Alan Rickman did so much in truly making Snape into the character he became.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I really dislike book Snape, but, like, much as I dislike Snape's character, Alan Rickman was such a good choice for him. Like, I can't really imagine anyone else playing Snape the way he did, especially with how it came out, where he was, like, he kind of made the character what it was, knowing what was going to happen to the character before any of us knew what the character was going to be. Because this is before it was even, like, in the books, really. Like, he was, like,
and it's a gentle balance of being shady and the kind of guy you don't want to trust, while also being, like, he had to place a certain depth to everything he did.
I just still wish that they had portrayed how young James and Lily were, because I think it would be, like, more, like, heartbreaking.
Yeah,
but...
like, here they look like they're 40.
Well, this is a typical, like, James and Lily having kids when they're 21 is, like, crazy young. That's, like, how you would imagine, like, parents of, like a preteen would be. And it makes sense. But I just feel like the reason James and Lily was so tragic is because they were so young when they died.
Yeah.
But it's still very sentimental. I really wish we could have seen, like, what Ron saw in the mirror, but I get, like, the movie's trying to see it from Harry's perspective of, like, what he sees, and he's just, like, sees Ron's excitement.
Can't see it, so.
And it's just,
Harry
like,
can't see what Ron sees, so.
Yeah. And I just love how they had, like, the really big shot in here of Harry just looking into the mirror whilst in its own world, and how it reveals Dumbledore for the first time.
The angles were done very well.
Even the lighting in here, it's dark and kind of, like, gloomy almost, and that's kind of how Harry is described feeling in the book, where he goes almost through, like the grief process.
Yeah. I love this Dumbledore. I mean, I love Dumbledore overall, because he's shady.
We've discussed our Dumbledore
but
hatred.
I love the Richard Harris.
I feel like Richard Harris really encapsulates what Dumbledore was, especially in the first two books where he's just kind of quirky, and you don't really know, like, how you're supposed to be interpreting him. Like, is he serious? Is he not serious? But you definitely get, like, the gentle vibe, like, where he's, like, showing Harry this, compared to, I do think that, like, the future Michael Gambit Dumbledore, like, he definitely shows the wilder side of Dumbledore in the later books. Yeah. But I feel like this Dumbledore, like, Richard Harris, like, I really wish we could have seen what his, like, interpretation of Dumbledore would have been in the later books. Absolutely. Because I just feel like he really got the character. And especially what we saw in, like, the documentary earlier this year, but, like, how he was really great with the kids, and he was really funny and really, like, almost like a little kid. So he really got that kind of childish side of Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like how he is so soft-spoken. Like, he's almost whispering, like, he's really whispering here. Yeah. But almost whispering all the time, and that's so much an essential
it's definitely
part of how
a very big contrast compared to how Michael Gambit plays Dumbledore, where he's very big and big movements and stuff, and how there's that meme about, like, how he yells with the goblet of fire, where Dumbledore is always, in the books at least, he's always pretty calm and put together and very deliberate. But it's also, like, how they interpret Dumbledore, and they both do a good job. I love these little, like, B-roll scenes for just Harry in the castle. Yeah. And, like, it's really lets John Williams, like, scores kind of speak for themselves as we kind of explore, like, the castle and the world we're in. I love the soundtrack.
It's a really nice way to show the passing of time.
The soundtrack's amazing, too. It shows them breaking out in the middle of the night, like hooligans.
Yeah.
It's also, like, the first shot I get of, like, Hagrid's cabin. It's just, like, kind of what I imagine it would be, like, kind of, like, a little, like, small cabin. Well, small for Hagrid.
Icon of tiny house living.
Yeah. Hagrid started the movement.
GTV show.
This is just, like, what you need. They have this Hagrid in the movie a bit more responsible than Hagrid in the book. Hagrid in the book is like inviting them into his whole illegal dragon ring.
Yeah.
Where here, he's trying to keep them out of it, and they just kind of stumble across it. And he's definitely more than maybe telling them to stop butting in on this stuff. For in the book, he's kind of revealing things and then being like, oh no, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
It's trying to make him a bit more of an adult.
Yeah.
And they kind of cut out them having to save Hagrid by getting rid of Norbert. And Hagrid lets them, and here they just get caught being out of bounds. So making Hagrid look a little bit more responsible than he is really.
Yeah. That brat.
Yeah. I do love the scene where Malfoy's like, I got them in trouble, and he's so proud of himself, and then he's just like, wait, I have detention? Mm-hmm. Like, you played yourself.
That's one of the things I love about McGonagall.
Mm-hmm. He's like, wait a minute, is this consequences for my actions? And so we have the obvious difference here that Ron's on the detention instead of Neville.
Yeah. Thanks for sneaking out to hang out with Hagrid. We're going to punish you by letting you sneak out to hang out with Hagrid.
Yep. Still doesn't make sense, no matter what. Book, movie. So this is our first look at the Forbidden Forest, which kind of holds up to what I imagined it looked like. Spooky. Trees everywhere.
I feel like there should be more low-down branches. Like, I get why they did it like this. It's easier to, like, see the characters, but I want more reaching out to grab you branches like this one.
Mm-hmm. They definitely have to make sure that there are places where the cameras and equipment can go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still don't see why it's a good idea to separate children into the forest.
Alone in the dark when they don't know any magic.
Yeah, especially when like, there's like a mysterious beast that's hunting unicorns and they don't know what it is. So yeah, let's leave some kids out. Mm-hmm. So like, why do you send 11-year-old boys that are just going to antagonize each other just like this?
That being said, Fang is a good dog, and I would go out in the woods with Fang. His face.
Oh god. I mean, that's pretty traumatizing.
Mm-hmm. It's a little more physically present than it's described.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a wisp. It looks very much like the same cloak Voldemort wears in the flashback to Harry's parents' death. Which I guess is easier for kids to follow because it's, like, consistency.
Just like, we can see Draco in the background.
Just
running around.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they definitely wanted to have, like, the bad guy be a bit more physically present, so it's, like, an actual physical force.
Yeah.
So it's probably easier to portray than, like, the whisper vapor that Voldemort's supposed to be in the books. It's Firenze, our centaur friend. I think I actually prefer how Firenze, like, centaurs look in this movie compared to how they look in the Order of the Phoenix. Because I feel in the Order of the Phoenix they look a bit too generated.
Okay.
Like, obviously here, like, it's a computer image. It's obviously CG, but I think there's probably more practical effects done. Mm-hmm. It just looks more like it fits in better into the environment than I think the centaurs do in Order of the Phoenix. Like how Hagrid had the crossbow ready to go.
Yeah, well, it's so dangerous he needs to carry a crossbow, but the children are fine unarmed.
Well, they technically have wands. They could light sparks, cast Locomora.
They haven't taught them. Harry still hasn't done a spell. They could shove their wands really hard up Voldemort's nose and hope
that's
for
the only
best.
move they know. Harry's making, like, intuitive leaks right now, which is pretty close. Like, Snape's not Snape, but, like, he gets the idea that Voldemort's involved and makes the connection.
Yeah. I like the big swallow Ron does before he says, kill you.
What?
When Ron goes,
yep.
Kill you.
Well, that's like a big, kind of crazy thing for 11-year-old to be, like, asking. Like, what 11-year-olds are thinking about, like, death and stuff. And Harry's just like, oh, yeah, you probably would have killed me tonight if friends didn't come. Like, Harry's interpretation of, like, his life. I do love this scene at them all running to her desk, and then they have in like the fifth or sixth movie. She's like, "Why is it always you three?"
Yeah.
Haunting McGonagall. She's trying to do her job.
I'm sure Minerva, not wanting the children to go on adventures and almost die, reaches out to Dumbledore like, "Hey, the kids know about this and they're worried about it."
And he's like, "Perfect."
Dumbledore's like, "It's totally fine."
Your Snape moment.
Speaking of fine.
Transition. Delivery.
His hair was made much too luscious. Like, it's not greasy.
Yeah.
It's like shiny and soft and like...
Most movies kind of, they don't really put in like the ugly traits. Like I think like Hermione's supposed to be kind of like an ugly duckling in like the first few books until she has like her transformation in Goblet of Fire. But they obviously want the characters to look nice because you want people look at people
but Snape's supposed to look like a bad guy, you know?
Yeah.
So they didn't need to go so hard on making his hair so glorious.
I love how Neville's pajamas have little teddy bears on them. They're so cute.
I mean, they're actual children, and it's nice to be reminded once in a while.
Yeah. I mean, Ron's not
Brilliant
wrong.
but scary. That's like the best compliment someone can receive. I want to be both brilliant and scary.
Just leaving Neville on the floor.
Like, at least put him on a couch.
Yeah. Put a pillow under his head.
Stepped on. Like, what was their plan to get past Fluffy without the flute?
Yeah, like Harry brings the flute Hagrid bought him in the book, but here...
In the book, yeah. Here, there's no flute.
Here, it's just a harp that Quirrell had left.
Exactly, but they don't know if Quirrell's been there already until now. So they went there with no instrument, knowing music is what they needed, and just hoped for the best.
Yeah.
Where's the ukulele Ron keeps in his bag, you know? Harp is a weird choice of instrument. It's not exactly the most portable or inconspicuous.
Well, you imagine that they probably just, like, transfigured it or magicked it out of nowhere.
I guess, but a harp is still a weird choice.
I think it's just the most, like, close to, like, a lullaby. The most soothing. Okay. So what spas usually have, like, a harp or something. That's pretty soothing. So here you have the Devil's Snare Stones, and this is where Hermione literally freaks out and forgets she can do magic. But here they kind of interpret it where Ron's freaking out, and
another Hermione classic, that saves take away Hermione's flaws and try and make her perfect, and make Ron funny and take away his moments of cleverness.
Yeah, taking away Ron being able to have a clear head where Hermione has the clear head here. Which I get they're trying to establish Hermione as like she's the one that knows all the facts and she's smart.
Yeah.
But I think it says a lot to her character because she is the one that knows all the facts and is smart, but she can't think when bad things are happening.
Exactly.
It's a human trait because I think we're all like that when things are happening in the moment. Not a lot of us have the ability to stop and like think clearly. I do get they probably just wanted a sense like a comedic moment here too, where Ron usually is the comedic moment.
Yeah.
But it's just the kind of the start of Ron being kind of passed over for Hermione and her character in the films.
I mean, I think it starts in the bathroom with the troll when Hermione in the movie reminds Ron how the spell works instead of Ron figuring it out and doing it on his own.
I definitely think it started innocently. Like Ron is still a pretty strong character in the first two films. I feel just like as the movies go on. And Hermione is just doing more compared to Ron especially in the later films.
Yeah.
And more of Ron's moments are left out. And this adds like a different level to it, because I think in the book, they didn't attack Harry, but they ran away from Harry.
Yeah.
So this makes it more a challenge, and it's just definitely a more intense moment for the movie to build up to each level till you get the big boss. So you could have, like, the Devil's Snare try to kill them, the keys that try to kill them. They actually used some of the chess pieces in the Room of Requirement in the last movie when they were, like, running away from the fire. I think they had a bunch of just random props that they put in that room. Because it was supposed to be the room that people hid all their stuff. So
it's probably where they actually ended up, you know? Canonically, like, everything ends up there.
Yeah. It's where everyone goes to hide all their stuff.
Honestly, in reality, the Room of Requirement would just be hair elastics.
Yeah.
Just like a
bobby
room
pins.
Full. Yeah, hair elastics, bobby pins. A lot of single socks.
Yeah. all the socks are there. Chapstick. I actually think of like the magic behind it, like what McGonagall did. Like she transferred the pieces, but she also made it so like the pieces could take direction, and so they acted like real things, well, chess pieces.
Yeah, and of course, I'm sure each chess piece knows the way on which it can move.
Yeah.
It wouldn't allow Ron to move a pawn diagonally if it wasn't for killing. Yeah.
I do wonder how Quirrell got past it. Like if he actually played across, or if like Voldemort and him just like did some magic to like get through or whatever.
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe Quirrell's okay at chess?
Maybe. I just feel like Voldemort doesn't have the patience for chess.
Yeah, no, for sure.
He's like, get me to the stone, and Quirrell's like, but I gotta play a game of chess first. Ron's true Gryffindor moment.
Yeah.
This quote. I love it.
I love the attitude in that line. Listen, this is how it is.
Well, it's kind of true. It kind of plays it for the rest of the series. Like, Harry has to go on and die by himself. Mm-hmm. Leaving Ron and Hermione to, like, get rid of the other Horcruxes, or so he thinks.
I love that Ron stays up on top of the horse like that. He doesn't, like, crawl lower to try and be less easy to stab.
He's going for the dramaticness of it. The theatric.
I understand they didn't include the potions task, but I really wish they did. Mm-hmm. The nerd of me wants to see it. Wants to see Hermione thinking very deeply for a minute.
Mm-hmm. I guess there's just so much more that they can't really make it like this big intense task that they did for the other two. Yeah. There's only so much you can do if like you can't really there's no really way to show how Hermione thinks, especially since it just be like trying to process time, really, and all they're doing is drinking a potion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a cool,
but
like,
still,
the way, like...
They could have had it been short, I just think.
A deleted scene or something.
It wasn't Snape. It wasn't even Voldemort.
Dun, dun, dun. It was...
Hagrid.
Yeah, they kind of don't really touch on why Snape and Harry doesn't like Harry until like later on in movies.
Yeah.
Like, Snape tried to save you. What? Anyway, moving on. I like that it actually shows like Harry in the mirror. So we get the context of like he has the stone and we physically see the stone go into his pocket. That's such a good way to show it, because like it's described in the book, but actually physically seeing it, so cool. Mm-hmm. Especially seeing like it's the same mirror that he saw earlier. I don't think it's as disturbing as it's described in the book, but it's still pretty disturbing.
Yeah, I feel like it reminds me of that like internet trend of like potatoes that look like certain people. Yeah, you know.
But I just remember this.
It's like a potato that kind of looks like someone more so than specifically Voldemort.
This just reminds me of something that probably would have scared me when I was a kid. Just like, looks creepy. I didn't like scary things growing up.
Oh, I like scary things. Look, a nose!
Just before he gets his own body back, and he gets his own body, and he's like, you know what? Forget the nose.
No nose for me, thanks.
No nose, just slits. Yeah, see, this is where he snaps his fingers and, like, fire comes, and the book it's ropes.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was movieism, but it's real.
This is much more dramatic here.
Yeah.
Like, fire looks cooler. Yeah.
Well, they want a big, like, so their big finale, like, showdown, so they want it to be, like, big and dramatic and theatric. And this is they have Voldemort trying to manipulate Harry a bit more than he did in the book. In the book, he's like, join me or you die. But here he's like, oh, if you give me the stone, I'm like, I'll bring your parents back. He's really trying to, like, manipulate a child. And it kind of shows Harry being like, But in the end...
Don't do it, Harry Potter.
Harry kind of knows that he's on the good side. He's with Dumbledore. He's against Voldemort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just calling Voldemort out. This is like intense. It just flies.
Was that flying? Was that a jump?
I don't know. It was crazy.
Yes, I think it would have been scarier if he like slowly walked towards Harry.
So Harry turns
like,
to
more
stone.
ominous.
But in the book, it's kind of grosser where it's like burned, blistery skin.
Yeah, I think that would have been made the ratings go up.
Yeah, but I think it's also
Like
cool that it's stone because I think it's more of special effects to kind of show where he's being like physically stopped, like his hands falling off and stuff. But I think if it's blisters, I think would have made the rating go up, and I think it's also a bit scarier, especially since they're trying. It's for kids. Like reading about blisters is fine. I think actually seeing it, especially since blisters kind of gross people out, so they're trying to take away the gross factor.
Well, that was fun.
So here you're gonna get like the wispy vapor of Voldemort. Oh yeah, and that was Harry's kind of Horcrux moment where it's like someone was trying to kill the Horcrux container.
Yeah, that's the one.
So the Horcrux container killed
That's
them.
totally a Horcrux saving the day moment. 100%. Mother's love. Pfft.
Yeah.
Sorry,
There's
Mom.
the Dumbledore. I do love like the wisp of Voldemort kind of coming back for one last attack.
I wonder if that was Voldemort, like, I mean, obviously not in the book, because this does not happen like this, kind of. But that's, like, hypothetically Voldemort being like, oh, I could possess Harry.
Yeah.
What
if he had tried to possess Harry this early on and he could have realized that he can't possess Harry?
Or maybe it'd be easier to possess Harry because there's a piece of him already in Harry.
Mm-hmm. They do say later on he does try to possess Harry and he couldn't. And Dumbledore says, "Oh, that's because you love so much, and he can't be in a body that loves so much." But I'm like, maybe because there's already a bit of his soul that's in Harry, and he's like, "Get out!"
And it's defending itself.
My container. He wakes up and sees his presence, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is great." He's not even concerned why he's in the hospital.
I love the amount of beard.
Yeah.
And hair. It makes me so
this
happy.
Look of Dumbledore is what I wish they kind of kept when they did Michael Gambit. Like, still look with the crazy long robes and, like, the long hair and everything. Like, I feel like they definitely tried to, like, they didn't do everything with the costumes they had were good, especially in the earlier movies, but I feel like they
But less eccentric. They sort of, like...
That's what they did. They moved away from, like, less eccentric robes and stuff, especially they had them in basically Muggle clothes a lot in the later books, which I get. That kind of choice, but also it's just kind of like, if you're gonna be in a magical world, like, I want like crazy magic styles because I feel like they could have sold
really long sleeves. Like, look at those sleeves
like,
on that friggin' outfit.
Have those as merch. I feel like people would have bought them. My friend's mom like hand sewed me like my own like Hogwarts cloak for my birthday when I was 10.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. And she made one for her as well, and like they were like the coolest things ever.
We're whispering. Because I'm very old. And very old people whisper.
Well, you know, this is how, like, they saw Dumbledore as kind of someone who was, like, just very soft-spoken and just, like, I don't know.
I feel like when I'm shit-talking Dumbledore, I'm picturing the other version of Dumbledore more in my mind. Not that they're not the same person who have the same intentions and are both trying to get Harry killed, but...
There's, like, the calmer
this
Dumbledore and the
this one seems sweeter. It's easier
Dumbledore.
for me to, like, not want to shit-talk this Dumbledore.
Yeah. I think it's hard because, like, Richard Harris passed away before they could do the third movie, so it's just, like, this is the Dumbledore we could have had, unfortunately. But...
Apparently, they originally wanted for Richard Harris's replacement, they wanted Sir Ian McKellen, who played Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings. But apparently, he said no because he knew for a fact that Richard Harris hated him and thought his acting was bad. And he's like, I can't do that to the guy.
I mean, nice
and then he would have totally had a corner on the wizard market, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
It would have been too much. Too much power.
This little moment.
I love how chill they are about the situation.
You're just kind of uniting them in their little friendship.
How'd the almost dying go? Pretty good. Oh, good to know.
It's alright.
Look at Dumbledore. He friggin' put up the Slytherin colors and everything.
Yeah.
What a dick.
And that the hat's back. See, I think these hats work. I don't think it shadowed their face too much. I don't know why they stopped wearing them. I guess it probably gets a lot having to have, like, I know probably they had to have multiple costumes for all the kids.
They're a bit goofy. Like, I feel like the witches should have witches' hats. Like, I like the brim on a witch's hat. I guess that's why they don't have brims, because that would cause shadows, but these look like gnome hats to me.
That's true. Like, when I was imagining the hats, I was imagining a witch hat, but I'm assuming that they don't have them. Like, Maggie Smith has one, but you probably have to wear it a certain way. Like, she was wearing it tilted back, so it won't cause a shadow on her face.
Yeah. We earned it. You know what I mean? Like, we did our homework, we did the bonus questions.
Whenever my grandma sees this part, she's just like, oh, that little brat. She doesn't like Malfoy. She's like, oh, that little brat. That brat.
Snape's already so pissed off about it.
Just sitting there with a smile on his face, and I'm like, I fucking hate you.
So much. My gosh,
he's like,
you're
I should
the
still
worst.
be a Death Eater.
God, I can't wait to kill this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Malfoy's just like, oh man, something bad's gonna happen.
So is it pure love and outstanding courage? It's outstanding courage and being a Horcrux.
Yeah. Being a Horcrux.
Imagine he just says that. Book 1.
Like, Horcrux,
Everyone back to the forbidden section of the library.
When you're just watching this is like a great, like, moment. Like, they finally win the House Cup. Like, looking back as an adult, you're like, that wasn't really fair. Like, poor Slytherins. Like, we don't like Malfoy, but they still, like, played by the rules-ish. And Gryffindor just won because Dumbledore changed his mind.
Literally, Harry, Neville, and Hermione and Ron got their points in one night. That made them from last to first place. And Slytherin did good things probably all year to try and win the House Cup.
So I just thought of something, this is the scene that they filmed, one of the first scenes they filmed. And this is where they tried to put the contacts in Dan Rad's eyes so he had green eyes, because the author is like, he has to have green eyes. It's very important for, like, the plot of the story. She's like, okay. And then he had a really severe allergic reaction. So they're like, okay, never mind. But she's like, you know what? He can have his eyes, because he has an allergic reaction, but just make sure that Lily's eyes are the same. And
then they didn't do that.
They didn't do that. But I just feel he suffered through a lot. Like, he had an allergic reaction to the contacts, and I also read that the first pair of glasses that he had also had an allergic reaction to those. So, like, he's a committed actor working through all these allergic reactions.
They're like, why did we find the one kid who's allergic to everything?
I also found that they tried to put, because this was one of the first scenes they filmed, they also were going to give Hermione false teeth, because Hermione's known for having buck teeth earlier on. But it was just, like, it impeded Emma's, the way she could speak. So they're just like, whatever. So, you know, they definitely tried things out in this scene that they didn't actually stick with. But it's also kind of cool. Yeah. Like, a lot of people don't know how they film things out of order in TV, because you're doing it by location. So you're like doing like when you have this location for, and also kids can like work a certain amount of hours.
Yeah.
Because child labor laws. So they actually do it when they have who they have available, what days, and like when they have a location available. Oh, this is Hagrid and the train and the music score. Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Love it.
And then the song.
This is one of my favorite movies to watch. Just like introduction to the characters, but also just like introduction to what is the Harry Potter fandom. Like this music, scenery,
the castle in the background,
the cast. It's perfect. So overall, thoughts about the first movie?
It's really cute.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's hard to narrow it down to a few points, but they cast the Golden Trio and Neville perfectly. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Alan Rickman as Severus Snape is one of the greatest casting choices of all time. I think those are my
the big things I've
thoughts.
talked about in this movie is just like casting in general, perfect, love it, obsessed with it. Generally, I love the first two movies just because I love Christopher Columbus. I know he talked about in this the Harry Potter 20-year special that he like saw this in his mind, and that's why he really pushed to be the first person to direct it. And I really would have liked to see like what his vision would have been going forward, but I'm glad that he directed the first two movies just because I like his establishing vision for the series and how he was able to set the series up going forward, because I love that he did these first two movies are like my comfort movies for Harry Potter. These are the ones that if I want to watch a Harry Potter movie, I usually go to these two rather than any of the other ones. And I just like the beginning, like the innocence of it all. And like this one probably feels like the most nostalgic and like the whimsy and everything. Like everything kind of just fits together. Yeah. And it's very like.
And because it's still more of a kid's movie than a lot of the later ones, it's not that heavy.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even play the heavy parts to be that
it's definitely a lighter
heavy.
movie, which is why it's more of a comfort movie. Yeah, so what would your rating for this be? Like, out of 5? Like, 5 stars.
Oh, out of 5 stars. I never rate anything out of 5. That's hard.
Or should we do 10 stars?
That's easier for my brain.
10 stars.
I mean, I would give this film a 90. I would say I love the casting. I would have slightly altered, like, I would have liked if they left in the potions.
Yeah, there's definitely scenes that we would like to see in the movie that they
fight
can't
in
fit.
I would have really liked to see Draco get punched. I think that would have been fun.
Yeah.
But I think they made good choices with what they chose to take out generally.
Yeah,
I think they included
I feel like the
most
plot
of the important
story
stuff.
is very clear and it makes sense compared to other movies where they cut things out and it doesn't really fit quite much. So the early two movies, they definitely included what needed to be included, and what they cut wasn't super important. Like, I don't really get pissed off until later movies where things get cut out that I'm really mad about.
That are important.
I probably rate this around like 8 stars. I feel like it's perfect. Like, I love everything about it. Like, there's a few scenes that I wish like had been included that were in the books. But most of the stuff I like. I like it flows really well as a movie, and I like what's included.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I'm giving it a 9 just because I think that's probably the highest. I'm probably going to rate this movie the highest, I would say.
Yeah, this might be
just
one of my
because it
highest
takes out the least important stuff, it doesn't upset me.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and if we did include the video for this, thanks for watching our first video podcast. But yeah, if you have any thoughts about the movie review, you can share them with us on social media at Potter Revisited, or you can send us an email at potterrevisitedpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll be back again to jump back into the Harry Potter series, starting with Chamber of Secrets. We'll be jumping into the first chapter next episode.
Bye!
Bye!